Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Techstrong Unplugged. This is episode 6 of our series, and I'm your host, Atan Solomon, joined by my co host, Cassandra Chin. On Techstrong Unplugged, we dive into all things tech and get people up to speed with everything happening across the industry. Recently, Cassandra went to the Great International Developer Summit, also known as GIDS. Cassandra, why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience there?
So for this one, I interviewed Ivar Grimstad, and he's like a well-known Java guy, community guy. He's been doing this for a very long time, and he travels to a lot of conferences and gives a lot of sessions. So he definitely has a fun personality to talk to.
Right. And as she said, at GIDS 2024, Cassandra sat down with Ivar, who is a Java champion and Jakarta EE developer advocate. In this interview, Cassandra and Ivar also dive into navigating enterprise Java, as well as the evolution of Jakarta EE and the importance of community involvement in open source projects. Cassandra, overall, what were your thoughts on the interview?
It was definitely a fun experience to be at the conference interviewing him. And he has his session. He's doing a lot of stuff there. It's definitely a fun place.
Awesome. Well, without further ado, let's head over to GIDS at Bangalore, India.
Welcome back to Techstrong Unplugged. I'm your host, Cassandra Chin, and today we have Ivar Grimstad.
Yes.
So, do an introduction.
Yes. So my name is Ivar Grimstad. I'm the Jakarta EE developer advocate at Eclipse Foundation. And so what I usually do is travel around at conferences and doing talks and talking to people like you in this kind of interviews.
How long have you been doing conferences and giving talks?
Yeah, that's been a while now. I did my first bigger conference talk in 2011. It's been almost 14 years now. But I started smaller by doing it internally in my company and in the Java user groups that was associated in it.
Do you want to talk a little bit about your open source values?
Yeah, sure. So I work for an open source foundation, and one of my hard cases is to get involved in the open source community. And to me, that has been a really good enabler for my career. Everything I do is based on what I've done on my spare time in the open source community. And because usually when you work for an employer, you have to do the business application and that kind of stuff. But if you can find some time to do some open source, contribute to an open source project, file a bug or something, that's opened a lot of doors for me.
So now you're doing open source as a job?
Yes, I'm full-time open source now, which is pretty cool.
I think open source means community, can you make a living off of open source?
Yeah. I mean, you can like me. I worked for an open source foundation, and I'm employed there. So yeah, I get my salary from them. So yeah, you can make money that way. But also, if you have a successful open source project, you can set up any ways of making money from it, having Giro sponsors or other corporations sponsoring your project. So yeah, you can make money out of it, absolutely.
How do you enjoy working with the people at open source projects?
It should be, it's always pleasant, it's always good, but you meet all kinds of people there, and you just have to have an open mind. We come from different countries, different cultures, we behave differently, we do things differently. Sometimes we say things that come across cross in a different language, so you just have to be kind of open-minded, mellow,
Is that really different?
Nice, yeah.
Is that really different than a traditional job?
No, I wouldn't say that. Yeah, it's the same people you meet, or same kind of people you meet everywhere. But in open source, you may meet those people that the traditional kind of image of an open source developer would be someone sitting in their basement, never seeing people, just coding. So you have to be able to interact with that kind of thing.
I think that's the image of all developers.
It can be, yes.
Are there any open source projects you're really passionate about?
Yes, obviously it's Jakarta EE, which is where I spend most of my time. But another passionate product, or a product I've always liked a lot, is NetBeans, which is at Apache Foundation. So you cannot be religious about, just because I'm working with the Eclipse Foundation, I still have a very good relationship with the Apache Foundation, and I'm a committer on Apache NetBeans as well. So all this open source world, we come together as one big family, more or less.
I think it's really great how you like not only stick to the place that pays you, but you expand out and make new connections with.
Yeah, it's nice. And when you are at conferences like here, you meet people, engage with them, and yeah, it's all very, very nice.
Does meeting people at conferences bring you new opportunities?
Oh, definitely. So being at home, just behind your camera, you can reach out a lot. But being at a conference, especially between sessions, the famous hallway track, that's where you meet people. That's where you may meet other friends, like getting speaker opportunities. A couple of weeks ago, I was at a big conference, and I spoke to a lot of people, and now I have a Java user group tours all across the world planned just out of talking to those people there.
I think that's really amazing how just talking to people.
Yeah.
Because you think like you're in front of your computer, you're online, you have access to more people, but more isn't always better.
No, it's not. And it's very one-directional when you're in front of your computer. So, of course, you can have a Zoom video and talk to people, but seeing people close by and it's a much, what I call a warmer communication channel. It's more because you see how people react, how they move, everything. So
when you see people online, like, does it make a difference when you see them in person?
I mean, yes, it can. Online, you've only seen maybe from the shoulders and up, but when you see the old person, it's different. Yeah, so definitely.
But are you able to build a better relationship?
I think so. By meeting people in person is always better to create relationships, and and you get to engage with them. Not only because when you're online, you very kind of focused. You're in on that subject, and you don't spend so much time socializing. But when you're at the conference, you may go out for drinks or dinner, or just talk about random things about the country you're visiting or something. So you get to know people on a much deeper level.
So you stumble upon more random topics?
Yes, definitely.
So when you're on Zoom, do you feel like when you're on that meeting title has a purpose, and that's the only thing you talk about?
Mostly that's the case, yeah. But we have tried this, virtual coffees and virtual just get together, talk about stuff, but it's really very effective, I think.
It's not quite the same?
No, it's not.
Are people too stiff on those calls?
I think so, yes.
Are there any, topics or values you want to talk about?
So, topics or values, I think, as I sort of started with, I think the important thing, or the good thing about being in this industry is that we were able to make money out of something we're very passionate about. You will always find passionate software developers, and I think those that are more successful and don't get burned out are the ones that follow their passion in the project. If you just go and, do your daily amount of coding from 8 to 4 every day or whatever your working hours are, and you don't have a real passion for it, it's going to be a much harder, usual days for you than if you find maybe some open source project that you're passionate about, some library that you want to improve on, and dive into that, and maybe that will open some doors and you can make a career out of it. Then it doesn't feel like a job anymore. It's just I'm just hanging out, cool people, talking about stuff I care about. So that's.
I think it can be really difficult finding your initial passion, because the expectation when you get out of college is apply to lots of jobs and see which one says yes, and it gets narrowed down to only maybe 5.
Yeah, and I don't think you'll ever find your dream job right out of college. I think you probably have to jump around a little, and that's good. I mean, we have, if you have the opportunity to stay a couple of years and learn, and then move on to different company, get different experiences, then sooner or later you will be kind of narrowing into where you want to go. And so, yeah, so that's definitely different, or all the opportunities we have. Also, by working remote, you don't really have to move to work for a company in a different country even. So it's a lot of opportunities for us now, or for you young people.
You can work remote, but are time zones challenging?
Time zones can be challenging, but also liberating. So the people I work is in U.S. Eastern time, whereas I'm in Central European time. So my workday starts like 6 hours before them. So I have some time at home where I can clear out my inbox, do the email stuff, do the administrative things, and then I have a couple of meetings in the afternoon, and then I go off and they continue working.
I wonder if it's like the opposite case for them, where like they wake up and there's a pile of work.
Probably. So you have to choose your time zone wisely.
Yeah, I can see that. So you're giving a talk here?
Yes, I did. Or I actually already had. I did a talk that has been very popular at conferences around. It's about migrating from Spring Boot 2 to Spring Boot 3, with a focus on what Jakarta EE and what the impact of that is. So, yeah, it's a good talk. It's fun. Lots of demos.
Do a lot of people use that technology?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Personally, I've actually never heard of it.
Yeah. Well, I guess a funny story that actually builds up on what you're saying is, if you're doing a talk at a JavaScript conference, they will ask you to, can't you fit more stuff into that slide? Because they kind of see this stuff clearly. Whereas if you're at a Java conference, Java developers tends to be a little older, and they ask, can you increase the font a little bit?
Oh,
so, you know. But that's so funny. I think there are lots of young people learning Java today. It's still a vibrant language. And it's been going on for 25 years or more. And I think it will be going on for at least 25 more. So I if I were starting my career today, I wouldn't be afraid of doing Java, learning to code Java, because there will always be a Java developer.
But I think Java is still in the school system. Like, they have EP6 testing on Java.
They do. That's good, yeah.
Do you have any more topics? Have you been to GIDS before?
I have been there. I've been talking at GIDS 5 times. One of them was online during the pandemic, so I've been 4 times in person there. It's a great conference to be at and come back to, and this year it feels bigger than ever. So there's lots of people.
It's actually my first time here at GIDS.
Yeah.
Do you have any recommendations on like what I should do here?
So I would go out and see a little bit of Bangalore. Take one of those, the rickshaws.
Yeah, I've seen the rickshaws on the street.
Yeah, you should hail down one of those and ask them to take you for a ride. You should probably tell them where you want to go. Like, just find some sites on Google Maps or something and try that, because the traffic here is, that's an experience.
Yeah, like traffic lanes don't really seem to exist.
No. Yeah, and you should, obviously, if you want to cross the street while walking, you should be very careful. And my trick there is to find someone local and just follow them, because they know when the cars will stop and to navigate, because you cannot trust them to stop, even if it's a zebra crossing like we're used to.
That's a really good tip, just to tail someone.
Yes.
How did you get started into technology yourself?
So I've always been interested in programming, and I started my programming with the programming basic and on the Commodores back in the 80s. That's a long time ago. but so I'm always interested in like trying out things, and if I didn't have it in front of me, I tried building it. So I kind of intuitively understand this coding thing. So I pursued that when I went to university, and And I really liked I'm not maybe the hacker kind of person that is the best programmer or anything, but I like the structure and how to design programs and do that stuff. And yeah.
Are there any like applications you remember experimenting with or building?
Yeah, it's been a lot. So yeah, I actually remember my first Hello World. I was sitting at the university, and there was this new thing called Java, and I bought this book Java 1.0 in a nutshell, and I started like typing off the Hello World back in, I think it was 97. So I've been coding Java for a while.
I think that book is an antique and might sell for a lot now.
Yes. So yeah, that was a good book. And I just fell for the, the simplicity of the language, because at school we were using C++, and it's so much harder to get that right. So when Java came around and just solved a lot of those issues for us, it was so good, yeah.
So why is Java easier than C++?
I mean, for me it was the garbage collection, and I don't have to think so much about the memory management. It's just there. It works.
I mostly take memory management for granted now.
Yeah, we do. So
I think it's been a really good talking to you.
Yeah, it was very nice. And yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me, and good luck in your next interviews.
Yep.